Jonathan, let's get into the meat and potatoes of this show now.
Let's do it.
Last week, last episode, I should say, we went through some validation on our form, right? When we enter a new contact. And that was pretty painful. It was pretty painful to watch. I'm sure it was pretty painful for our audience to watch, but I felt there was an exercise there that would, how would I say it? It kind of would tell us like why we don't do that, why we want to use frameworks. And I want to start with an analogy, and I'm hoping that this is just going to change the way the whole world, how you look at the whole world, okay?
Mm-hmm.
If you had to build let's keep it simple. Let's just say you had to build a doghouse, okay? And Home Depot did not exist. Lowe's did not exist. Lumber yards did not exist. How would you go about getting the wood to build a doghouse?
I'd probably go in a forest and cut down a tree or something.
Exactly, right? And then once you chop down that tree, what then?
You gotta cut the pieces of wood that you need.
Well, even further, right? You have to wait till the tree dries out.
Yeah, that'd be a long time too.
That would be a very long time. Your poor dog may not even see the house, depending on the conditions you live in. And then let's just say that once you do dry out the tree, you have to make 2x4s, maybe some 1x4s or 1x2s, whatever. You would have to have tools in order to do that, right?
Yeah.
And that would be a completely separate set of tools from the tools that you would use to build a doghouse. Which means that in order for you to build a doghouse, you not only have to know how to build a house, a little doghouse, you have to know how to cut the pieces out from the wood. So you have to be like a lumber specialist, right? And not only that, you also need to be able to chop down the tree, which means that you're going to have a whole different set of tools just chop down the tree. So you also have to be a lumberjack, right?
Mm-hmm.
And chances are you're not going to be living in the city. You're going to be probably living somewhere completely different in order to be near trees that you can chop down. So what we did last week is we built a doghouse and we chopped down the tree. We let the tree dry. We cut 2x4s out of the tree and we built our little doghouse. And that was such a painful process to go through, right? Yeah. This is why we have Home Depot and we have Lowe's and we have, lumber companies, because everyone specializes in one part of the job. So you have a lumber company go out and chop down the trees. You have the lumber company that, after they chop down the trees, lets the trunk or the tree itself dry. And then they go and they cut the 2x4s, right? And I don't think a little piece of the tree that gets chopped down goes to any waste.
Mm-hmm.
If we create toothpicks out of it, it's from whatever is left over of the tree.
Yeah.
Bark that you buy in order to put ground covering in your garden probably comes from the bark of the tree, So every single bit of piece of that tree is used. Paper, I mean, you name it, okay? And so when we're building these forms can be pretty painful. And you saw everything that we had to go through. And imagine that we have to do that for every single form that we create. That is a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
So we need to just go to Home Depot, build our form.
Make it easy.
Make it easy. Exactly. Use, or I should say, reuse what somebody has created already, right? Don't recreate the lumberjack company or the Home Depot or anything like that. It's like go utilize something that's already in place. So why don't we go ahead and share your screen, Jonathan, and bring up the application, Visual Studio and Visual Studio Code, and open up the code so we can start working on that.
All right.
So all our code here works perfectly fine.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go over to Visual Studio Code and let's create edit contact 2.
Okay. In the edit contact folder?
Yes. Yes. Perfect. And let's go ahead and do our import React and then let's go ahead and create our function. Okay. Perfect. This is exactly what we need. So normally we would go through and we would use the we would end up using what is the use state and all that stuff, right? We're not going to use any of that this time. We are going to bring in 2 new libraries in order to make this as easy as possible. So why don't we go ahead and open up the terminal?
There we go.
And right where you're at in the terminal, go ahead and type in yarn add. And the first one is going to be yup. Y-U-P. Ooh, did you get errors? Oh, you don't have yarn. So let's do npm. I think it's npm install. Go ahead and try that. Oh, and then yep. All right, let's look at the package.json file. Make sure that it's in there. Yep, it's there.
Oh yeah.
Okay, and then we need to add another one. The other one that we need to add is so same thing. The other one is called Formic, Formik. Excellent.
Yep.
So Formic and yup. This is like Lowe's and Home Depot at the same time. All right. So the way this kind of works is we could pretty much just go ahead and we're going to return and open close parenthesis. And inside the parentheses, go and start a div tag. So go ahead and start a new line.
Oh. Outside?
No, inside. And then, yeah, so you return a div. And inside this div, let's look at your edit contact and what does the return have in there? Let's start picking it out from there. Let's go down to the return. Yeah, there you go. So go ahead and expand that line 103. So we're going to want to do the class container, px4, class row, and the class name. Yeah. Let's go with those first 2. Yeah, go ahead and go with those first 2. Yeah. And then in here is going to be your column, right? And let's just put a, like a placeholder message, just put, placeholder for edit contact 2. Cool. And let's go ahead and go into the navigation. I think the navigation is going to be located in the app.js. And let's change the menu navigation that goes from edit contact to edit contact 2. And yeah, let's save all this, save everything. And go to Visual Studio and launch the application. Let's make sure that our create. Excellent. All right. So let's go back into Visual Studio Code and let's import. We're going to import from Formic. Okay. We're going to do an import. So we have to use a curly braces. And inside the curly braces, we're going to import Formic, capital F, yeah, comma, field, comma, form, and comma, error message, capital E, capital M on error message, error. Okay. And then on the next line, we're going to do another import. And we're going to import star, asterisk, as, yup, capital Y-U-P, from lowercase yup. That's it. Cool. So those two are the libraries that we're going to be using for our validation. All right. So now let's go on to line 10 and let's replace that line 10 with a tag. And the tag that we're going to be replacing it with is called Formic. So in here, we're going to need a couple of things. All right. Go ahead and start a new line right where you're at. And then indent. And so the first thing that we're going to need to do is we're going to have to set up a parameter called initial values. So it's lowercase I, capital case V. And that's going to be equal to, and we're going to start with something simple. So go ahead and open, close, curly brace, and then open, close, curly brace again. And we're going to start with, is it first name that we have in our state?
Yeah, first name.
Is it first name? Okay, let's go ahead and put first name. And then semicolon, or colon, I should say. And then empty quotes. All right, so we're going to start with something simple like that. After the second curly brace, go ahead and press enter. And in here, we're going to say validation schema. So lowercase v, uppercase schema. And this is going to be equal to another object. So we need curly braces. And in here, we're going to say uppercase yup dot lowercase object. And then open, close parenthesis. And then inside the open, close parenthesis, it'll be open, close, curly brace. So go ahead and press enter, give me a new line right where you're at. In here, we're going to say first name, which is the same. You're going to spell it the same name, the same way you did the other first name with the initial value. Okay. First name. And we're going to say first name, colon. And this is going to be equal to uppercase yup dot string, lowercase string, open, close parenthesis. And then outside the parenthesis, you're going to say dot required, lowercase required. And open, close parenthesis. And then open, close quotes. Inside. Right? Yep, inside. And then the message, if they forget to include it, what's the message that you want to include here? I would say, I would just put required, uppercase required, just as a message to them. And then We can go ahead and let's put this on several lines so that we, or close your files. That way it closes your files and we can have more real estate because we need to add another one after require.
Okay.
It'll be dot max, lowercase max. Open, close parenthesis. And we're going to say 25 would be the maximum length that we want on there. And then we're going to put a comma, we'll put a message. So the comma and then double quotes. And let's put a message saying must be 25 characters or less. So let's go ahead and in between the format tag, go ahead and start a new line. On line 14, before the close of the tag, let's go ahead and put a comma on there. And in here, we're going to say on submit equals, and this is going to be a function. So it'll be open, close parentheses, open, close curly braces, sorry. And then it'll be open, close, inside the curly braces, it'll be open, close parentheses. So we're going to do a fat arrow function. And then give me a fat arrow function with curly braces again. All right, inside the parentheses, put in a parameter by the name of values. All right, and then let's go down to line 16. And for right now, we're just going to go ahead and say console.log. And we're going to open, close parenthesis. And then inside of quotes, you can go ahead and say, what was our state called? This was called contact info, right? And then outside the quote, you could put a comma and just put in values. So now if you scroll down a little bit and on line 18, go ahead and tab in. We're going to start a form tag. So open up a form tag, capital form. And in here, we're going to add another HTML element called field. And go ahead and close that. Or this is going to be a self-closing tag, actually. So this is considered a self-closing tag, right? Mm-hmm. So let's go. We're going to add a couple of things to that field. So go into the before the forward slash, and let's give it a name. Inside before the forward slash, we're going to give it a name. Name equals, and this is going to be equal to first name, and you're going to spell it the same as your initial value. So you need to put that inside of quotes. And we need to set the type. So we're going to say type equals text, and you're going to put text inside of double quotes. Let's start a new line after 19. Let's get rid of that backslash at the end. Yep. And in here, we're going to put a button. So, yep, button, and the type is going to be submit. Let's save this and let's go back to the browser and let's see how this is working.
Oh yeah, that's a tiny.
We forgot to put submit in between the. Got ahead of ourselves there, didn't we? Let's see what that looks like now.
There we go.
All right, let's open up your Chrome tools. And yep, the console, and go ahead and press submit. So what do we got?
Okay.
Click on submit. Nothing's happening.
No.
Let's go back to the code for a second and see what's going on here. Let's go back to Chrome for a moment. And let's do a refresh on this page. And go ahead and type in something into the text box. Jonathan works, and then press submit. So the reason it wasn't working is because it was in an invalid state. So it wasn't submitting the form. But now that you have something in there, it seems to be working, right? Let's go back to the code for a moment. This is a lot less code to type this time around, huh? And I mean, granted, we only have one field, but look how easy it was. Mm-hmm. We have the ability to submit, and even if you press submit, nothing happens because the form isn't valid in case you do that. But one of the things that we need is we need to give the user a visual that will tell them like, hey, the reason this isn't working is because you didn't do something right. So let's start a new line after the field on line 19. Yeah. And let's go ahead and put, I'm going to open up a new tag, and it's going to be error message, uppercase E, uppercase message. And in here, this error message is going to have a name. And the name, guess what it's going to be?
Error message.
First name. And this is going to be a self-closing tag. Yep. So let's go ahead and run this, and let's see what happens here. So refresh it. And what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and click in the box and then click out of the box. Oh, something interesting's happening there. So if you go ahead and select, and it goes away. And now you can submit it.
There it is.
So essentially the validation comes out of the box, right? And it's kind of plain vanilla text that you're seeing there. There's nothing fancy about it. And the reason is because it's allowing you to go and put in your own type of validation, right? Mm-hmm. So go ahead and remove Jonathan again. And then it's required. Now, type in more than 25 characters. Just start slamming the keyboard. You see the message?
Yeah, nice.
So whatever validation you want to put in there is a validation that is going to appear based on the messages that are brought up by Yup. Mm-hmm. So it uses Yup internally in order to determine what messages are going to be displayed. You with me so far?
Yeah.
So let's go back and review the code just before we get more complicated with it.
All right.
Let's go up to the top. On line 2, we imported formic, we imported field, we imported form, and we imported error message. We're using those. If you scroll down just a tad, there's your form on line 18, there's your field on line 19, and error message on line 20. And then formic is being used on line 10. Mm-hmm. The rest of it is really just things that formic uses, right? So formic uses Yup for validation. So all we're doing is we're saying, hey, our validation schema, in other words, our validation object, this is what it's going to look like. In our values, we have a first name, and that first name is a string. So we're say yup.string, and this string is required. And if they miss it, here's the message we want to put in there. It's required. And there's a maximum length to this. You can also put a minimum length. So you can put .min at the end of, at outside the parenthesis. Mm-hmm. Outside the parenthesis. Yeah. .min. and go ahead and open parenthesis, put a number 3, let's say, comma, and say must be at least 3 characters long. So you can chain all these requests. 3 characters. Yeah. Let's save this and let's see if you type in less than 3.
Cool. There it is. Must be at least 3 characters long.
Yeah. But if you leave it empty, will it give you the, go ahead and refresh it? Oh, required. You see, if you leave it empty, it's required. So it knows between when you leave it empty and the fact that it's less than 3 characters long.
Yeah.
So you can have like a bunch of daisy chains. So let's go back to the code for a moment. And what I want to do is I want to go ahead and put a space on line 13 between first name colon and yup. Go ahead and put a space in there. And then before the period of string, before the period, go ahead and press enter and indent it. And then do the same thing with required. It'll be in, yep, that one. And the same thing with max and the same thing with min. So now you see how you have that block of code. Let's add last name. And so we're going to be doing the same thing for first name, but we're going to be doing last name. So remember, you're going to need a comma after min. All right. Let's scroll down and let's add it as part of one of our fields. Excellent. So you'll notice that you need to keep the name consistent, right? So in your initial values, can we go up to initial values? You'll need to add the last name as well. So it's going to go inside that curly bracket, comma, last name, colon, empty quotes. And let's go ahead and fix our object here. So first name, put that on a new line. Last name, put that on a new line. And then the brackets, put those on a new line. So this is our object structure.
Okay.
Let's save this and run it, see what we get.
All right.
So if you, oh, whoa, what happened here? We got an error.
Component. Uncontrolled input to be controlled.
Let's see. Let's go back to your code for a moment, see what we get. Let's get rid of the commas after the empty spaces. Yeah, get rid of that comma. And then go up to the initial values and get rid of the comma there. Yeah, no, not that one. You can leave that one in there. Let's save this and try it again. Oh, look at line 20 is missing a comma.
Line 20. Oh.
Line 20.
Where at? Oh, right here.
Yep. Okay, let's save that. Let's run it.
Oh. Okay.
So don't put any values, just go ahead and click in the boxes.
All right.
All right, so type in a couple letters. All right, and a couple letters on the other one. All right. And let's type more than 25 letters in it. And more than 25 letters on the other one. All right. So this isn't going to let you submit because it doesn't work. Nice. Kind of cool, huh?
Yeah.
But you'll notice that you have the text boxes side by side and then your messages come up right next to them, right?
Mm-hmm.
We need to break them down into the rows and columns and all that.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and do that, and let's work. So if you look at your edit contact form, your edit contact.js, remember we had the row, the column, and then the label and the input. So here, your input happens to be your field in Formic.
Okay.
So that's going to be the only difference, is that we're going to need our div, our column, our label, but instead of the input, we're just going to leave it as a field because Formic handles all that for us. So we're going to want to do the same thing on edit contact too. Yeah. Now, can we go scroll up a little bit? I want to look at the container itself because we have a container in here, I think. So we have the container, we have the row, and we have the columns. So this is a row. And then your form is inside, and you're going to start a new row. Let's see. Go ahead and save that. Let's see what comes of it. Okay.
That works.
All right. And then move from one text to the other. Okay. So we need to do the same thing with the last name, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's go do that. Cool. Now, you'll notice the difference between line 38 and line 32.
Oh, didn't do a class name.
All right, let's see what this looks like.
Yeah.
Cool. So let's go back to your edit contact, the original. And what other fields do we have in there? We can just look at the state. It'll make it easier for us. All the way to the top. We want to watch the state. Yeah. So expand line 5. So essentially, we're going to want to copy, 6 through 12 without the comma.
Okay.
Go ahead and grab the ID as well. Yeah. And let's go back to 2 and let's go put that in our initial value. You can go ahead and just override that whole thing. Yeah. And then inside of the, we're missing a comma. Yeah. And then inside your validation schema, we're going to need all the same rules for each one of those. Now, here's a nice thing is that you can actually collapse line 21. Oh, no, you can't. Oh, I thought you could. Never mind. All right. What field are we attacking here?
We'll start from the top. So we need the ID still, right?
No, we don't need an ID.
Okay. Oh,
We
number.
need phone. So don't forget your comma at the end of line 30.
All right. Next up, we have need a comma. The phone label too.
Yeah. Must be greater. Be greater.
Greater.
Be greater.
Schmail. Oops.
So you're going to love this about Yup.
What is it?
Instead of dot string, just
Yeah.
put dot email. Open close parenthesis. And you can put a message in there saying, must be a valid email. You know what I want to try?
Okay.
I have a feeling that Yup has a phone number. If you replace string on line 32 with phone, I think it validates phone. We'll try it. If not, we'll switch it back to string.
What do we put?
Must be a valid phone number. And I have a feeling that we can get rid of the line 34. You're still going to need a comma on line 33. All right. Let's try adding the phone number field first in your form.
Okay.
So I would just copy 61 and all the way up to 56. Paste it on 62. Yeah. And then change everything to be phone number. Or is it phone or phone number? Phone, huh?
Yeah.
Lowercase p. You can leave it in there as text. Let's try that first and see what we get. Oh, okay. So email is not exported from yup. Import as yup. Huh. Oh, okay. So let's go up to the validation schema.
Okay.
And let's check on your email. And that's going to be email. You are going to need a string as well as email. So let's add like line 35, just copy line 35 and paste it in there after line 38. Let's save that and try it again.
Now the phone is.
Okay, so let's go and fix that. There's no phone validation. So let's just put a string in there, get rid of the phone. And let's say max is 10.
Numbers.
Yep. Save that and see what we get. All right, let's make sure that the errors are coming up. Let's not put in, oh, it did everything.
Thanks, Google.
You have to move out of the field.
Oh. No?
Because we did a max. You have to do a min.
Hmm.
Let's try that. There we go.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's add the phone label to the form. Shall we just go ahead and start adding them all?
Yeah.
Let's do it. And what else do we have? Was that it?
That's it. Yep.
All right. Let's go check it out.
There we go.
But we're missing our labels. We don't know what goes in here. So let's go and look at the original form. Let's go look at edit contact. And go ahead and go down to your form area. Let's bring those labels. So hang on, go up a little bit. So on first name, go ahead and scroll down just a touch. First name, we need that label for. So line 113, copy label, yep. And let's put that in first name. So you need to put that after line 53. And then go ahead and scroll down to the last name and put that after line 60 and change it, yeah. And then we'll scroll down, do the rest. Oh, yeah, that's right, name. Put that appropriately. you need the same label as you need the HTML4 to match the name of the field. You see the name of the field on line 69?
Oh, phone.
Yeah. And then let's indent line 89, line 82. Yeah, line 82. And then the rest of the labels as well. Cool. Let's save this and see what it looks like.
Here we go.
Yeah, a little sloppy, but it could be better, I suppose. We're not worried too much about the aesthetics just yet. But what we're worried about is our validation. It's not too bad, huh?
Yeah.
All right. Let's go and we're going to be worried about the format in a moment. We're not going to worry about the format too much right now because the format, the aesthetics is the least of the developers worried, but it's the biggest worry for whoever needs to see this, right? Because it's kind of a soreness to the eyes to see this, but we'll worry about that in a moment. What I do want to do, let's go back to the code for a moment. And let's create a new folder under edit contact, new folder, and we're going to call this schemas, all lowercase. Yeah, go ahead and press enter on that. And go ahead and add a new file in there. And let's call it data schemas. So it'll be a capital D, capital S. Data schemas.js. And let's go in there. And what we're going to do is we're going to go and pull from, let's go copy something from edit contact 2. Let's go up to our initial values. And we're going to copy from line 11 all the way down to line 19. Yeah, let's go ahead and go back to the data schemas. And we're going to say export const space, and then paste. And the only difference is going to be that we're going to get rid of one set of the curly braces. All right. And let's go ahead and put a semicolon there. And then we're going to go ahead and press enter a couple of times. And let's go copy something else from edit contact 2. Let's go copy the validation schema. And all the way down to 47. Yep. And go ahead and paste. Oh, well, we need to do the export default.
Below it. Oh.
Yeah, before the validation schema, line 11. Line 11. No, go ahead and you're going to put in the same line as line 11.
Oh, got it.
Export schema. Export const, yeah. And the only difference is that we got to get rid of the curly brace right before yep and the curly brace at the end. And then give me a semicolon there. Yeah. And that's all we really need to do here. Let's go ahead and save this. And let's go back to edit contact 2. And let's go and do an import. Let's import star as data from, and then quotes, schema. Yeah, you need the quotes. Schema. schemas. Oh, you know what? You actually need to do dot / schemas. Yep, schemas. Nope, schemas. And then after schemas, it's / data schemas. Okay, so you see on line 12 where it says initial value?
Mhm.
Let's keep the outside curly braces and get rid of everything from the inside curly brace, everything on down. So we're only going to keep, the only thing that we're going to keep is one set of curly braces. And let's put it on the same line. And in there, right where you're at, start typing data dot initial values. You see what we just did right there?
Yeah, we kind of just imported what we have from schemas to this.
So exactly. We moved all this code to another file
Mhm.
so that this file can be even smaller.
Mhm.
We're going to do the same thing with the validation schema. So get rid of yep all the way down. Yep. And put data dot validation schema. Let's save it and see if it still works. Oh, so we need to import yup into our data scheme.
Oh, okay.
So it'll be import star as yup from yup. You need to put that inside of quotes. And then semicolon. Yep, let's try that. Ho, 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 ho. Oh, let's see. This is in the edit contact to 313. Yup is defined but never used. So let's go to the edit contacts to 313. 313. 3, line 3.
Oh, line 3.
Yeah, let's get rid of that line. Save it and let's run it again. And let's refresh that page. And let's just move through the fields. Don't put anything in them. Yeah, leave them empty. I want to see errors come up. All right. All right. All right. Let's go do 2 letters on the first name. All right. Let's do 25 letters on the first name. Nice. Excellent. Put 1, 2, 3 on the phone number. Must be 10. Okay. All right. And then phone. Your phone label. Yeah. Must create it greater than 2. All right. Put a false email in there. I mean, just put something that doesn't even resemble them. You see, it doesn't resemble an email. It says must be a valid email.
Mm-hmm.
.com. Nice. Excellent. All right. And you submit. Oh, you got more than 25 characters in first and last name.
Yeah.
There you go. Look at that.
It's working.
It's working. Let's go back to the code. Let's go check that out. Man, this is so small in comparison, huh?
Yeah.
It's so simple. I mean, this is like Home Depot and Lowe's all together. We didn't have to go chop our own wood or nothing, you know, it's just, that's kind of it. So how do we get it to look like the original edit contact? Let's go look at that. What will we do here? Oh, you know what? Let's scroll down a little bit. Wait, it's in the return right here. Yeah, so right here. So, oh, you know what? Notice how we have Go up to the first name and the last name. First name is 12. Label. So first name and last input. Was this on the same row, or did they show up on different rows? Do you remember?
I think, oh, so first name, last name, different rows, phone number and phone label were on the same rows.
Yeah, but I'm saying the label itself, were they next to each other or were they on separate rows? Do you remember?
They're on the same row.
They were on the same row?
Yeah. Or you think it was below it?
Yeah, I think for whatever reason. Is there some kind of, oh, we have a container px4. Another row. What does that px4 do? Can we add that px4 to the to our container?
Oh,
Oh, you already have it.
yeah.
Okay. Row 12. We have the label row 12. Go ahead and scroll down a little bit. Oh, can we go back to the original edit contact? Did we import Bootstrap? Can you go all the way to the top? No, we didn't, huh?
Maybe it wasn't. Just because we knew we were going to change it.
Let's go to the app.js and add a new menu item that'll navigate us to the original edit contact. So you can do, go ahead and go up to the top on line 8. Call that create to. And then copy this and paste it on the next line or the previous line, either way. And then put create and get rid of the 2 on both. And then down in the menu section, let's scroll down to the menus. Let's go ahead and do, you see on the route down at the bottom, let's copy 54, 55, and 56, and let's create number 2 out of that. Copy that. Copy those 3 lines and then paste them in the bottom below that. Yeah. And then put 2 at the end of both. Yeah. And then let's go scroll up a little bit. Right here on lines 43 to 45, copy those lines and paste them below 45. And change it to create to and create to. And let's go ahead and save it. And then let's go back to Chrome. And all right, let's go to, yeah. So they were stacked on top of each other, which is interesting.
And they go all the way.
And they go all the way. So that tells me, let's try something. Let's go back to your code and create to. And let's scroll a little bit to the top. Let's collapse line 10. You see how we have the container? I think what we need to do is let's get rid of 8 and 9. Go ahead and just get rid of 8 and 9. Go ahead, one more. And get rid of 61 and 62. And then go ahead and expand line 8. And let's move line 7 after line 13 or line 13 or line 12 now. Oh, no. Inside the form. Yeah. Go ahead and put it inside the form. Excellent. And then go ahead and collapse. Go ahead and go down. You can collapse line 15. Oh, it's not going to let you because it's malformatted. Go ahead and scroll down to the bottom. All the way down. And grab line 62, cut that. Cut 62 or 61, sorry. Cut that line. And you're going to put it right before 59. So you're going to put the closing div right before 59, before it.
Oh, before.
Okay. And let's fix the indentation on all this so you can highlight. You actually need to grab, hang on, go scroll up a couple lines, scroll up, collapse line 7, and then highlight 7 through 61. And then shift tab and bring the indentions back. One more. Keep on going. Keep on going. Right. Is it right there? Scroll up to the top, or not to the top, but to the top of.
Yep.
Yep. That'll work. And then, so let's indent 14. So collapse 14 and indent those 14 and 5 through 59. Let's save this and see what this looks like. Okay, we still don't have it. Can we go back to the code and look at create? What is a form? Do we have a form in no, go to create the original. And let's go up to the form. No, to that in the return, there's a form tag. Oh, there is no form tag. Oh. Interesting. Okay. Let's do this. Let's go back to create contact 2. In the form tag, do a class name form. Because that's a bootstrap. Don't forget to close that. Oh, wait, is it? Yeah, you need to close that tag. Okay, let's save it and see what we get. Yeah, not yet, huh? Oh, can we look at first name on the original? Let's go down to the return and look at first name. Oh, look at it's a form control. We're missing form control on that. So we need to add that class form control to all our fields.
Okay. Class name form control.
Yeah, just copy it and just paste it into every field. All right. Save it and let's see what we got. Whoa. Okay, but phone number, phone label, those need to go in the same row. So we need to do a column. We need to do. So here's what we're going to need to do, Jonathan. We're going to need to, we'll start with email. So go ahead and put email in the same screen. Okay. And let's go ahead on line 44. Let's change that from a 12 to a 6. And change on line 51, 12 to a 6. And let's cut 51 through 55. And save this and let's see what this looks like. There we go. Let's do the same thing with the phone and phone label. Whoa. Now let's see, just go ahead and tag the fields and then move to the next one. Okay, so it's pushing them down. That's not too bad.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what I'd like to do, Jonathan, is I'd like to make those required red.
Sure.
So here's where we could do some inline styling, okay? Let's put that inside of a span tag. And in that span tag, let's put that style in there. Let's try that. Let's save it and see what it does.
Hey,
there it is. Let's do the same thing to the rest of them. So let's fix that. Let's put the error message on a new line.
Okay.
And span on a new line. Yeah. Fix the indentation. And you can probably, yeah. Well, I don't know if you want to copy. Go ahead and copy the whole thing. What the heck? You're just going to have to rename each one of those again. All right. Let's save this and
cool.
Nice. So it shifts the format a little bit. There's some different things that we can play with. We can actually do like a red border instead of putting the actual error in there by checking whether or not there's an error. Essentially, we're able to validate everything. You know, Formic has a couple of different ways of doing things. There's no one single way of working with Formic. There's a couple of different ways. Obviously, what we're working with is something that's fairly simple. Their documentation is dense, to say the least. But regardless, you can see how much easier it is to work with than that painful process that we went through. You know, if we were to compare it again, I'll go back to the beginning story, right? Our analogy, the analogy that I first gave you was we went and we chopped down our own lumber, created our own 2x4s just to build a little doghouse. That was a lot of work, you know. Where here, Formic and Yup are the Home Depot and the Lowe's of validation for forms in React. And we were able to make it a lot easier, make it a lot nicer. If you look at the code, man, let's go back to the code. How much easier is this to read? I mean, the form is the same, but there's no bunch of methods, you know, everything's kind of built into Formic. Mm-hmm. It uses the validation, you know, we extracted it to the data schema class so that we can just import that. And it just made it so much easier. And so, I don't know. I like this so much better.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, cool. I think we'll leave this as it is. And in our next episode, we'll go ahead and take this information and start saving it into our API. We haven't had any interaction with our API in a couple of episodes. I'm excited to start saving some data.
Yeah.
So that we can start using our CRUD capabilities and get all that stuff entered through our forms so that we can go and start editing through our forms and start doing things. I also want to get into the whole filtering and sorting of things. That one right there is going to be pretty exciting. So let's upload this to Git for the kids at home that are following along.
There we go.
Don't forget to push it. All right, let's go make sure everything's over in Git. Formic form with validation. So yeah, that's kind of where it's at right now. And until the next time.
I'll see you on the next episode.